Justin Decker here from Waterloo East High School in Waterloo, Iowa. Today, I'm going to teach you how to teach a high school athlete to do a power clean from the ground in under 15 minutes. Now, I'm not saying what we do here is the best way, but we found a way to effectively teach 40 kids at a row how to clean effectively. I will say over the last 2 years, we've had 4 athletes here hit national level totals for weightlifting. So hopefully today, you can just take something out of what we show you and use it in your own high school. Now, I strongly believe before you teach a clean to a high school athlete that you should have gone through some sort of GPP or base phase. Before they get to touching the bar, they should be able to do a bodyweight squat with a kettlebell or dumbbell. They need to be able to maintain lordosis through the whole squat, and then kind of have an idea of what the front squat is. Ideally through PVC pipes, training bars, light bars. So, we're going to show you just a couple drills to kind of teach the front squat position if your athlete is struggling. I found out that high school kids, they tend to not let their hands relax and they just kind of fight the position. So we're going to show you a couple drills you can do to help teach it. First one is called the bar choke. The bar choke is not something I would do with a group of high school athletes, but maybe when you're working one-on-one with one, you can do it to get them into position. How the bar choke works is your athlete starts with a full grip on the bar. What you do is you come in front of them, you reach outside the bar, you're going to try to get your shoulders under their elbows. When you're in there, you're going to push the bar down while pushing their elbows up, and that's going to give them a full rack position. When you do this, you only want to do it for about 10 seconds because it's going to cause a lot of discomfort up in their throat area. So I'm just going to show you a quick little glimpse. So you come down here, hands on each side, push down, and pull up. The person you're doing it to will tell you it feels very tight, but give it a short little stretch so they have an idea of where the bar needs to be in the position. I'm going to show you now another couple everyday drills you can do with your athletes if they're still struggling with tightness in their forearms when they're trying to get in the rack position. The first one is called the forearm rollout. Nathan's going to go to the smooth part of the bar, put the middle of his forearm on there, and just go back and forth between 10 to 20 times. The more pressure you put on, the more deeper of a stretch you're going to get, and you'll notice you'll instantly get a big difference when you get in the rack position. The other one we call the tricep rollout. Nathan takes the belly of his tricep, digs it in the smooth part of the bar, then he's going to go about 5 to 10 times each way in internal and external rotation with his elbow. What that does is that releases the Golgi tendon organ, and instantly he's going to have a much more flexible rack position. Once your athletes are comfortable with front squatting, then we can jump straight to clean from the hip. Now what I found, the easiest way to teach the clean from the hip is simply tell your athletes to get into the athletic position. Every 9th grader coming in should already know what the athletic position is from years of middle school sports, and then from there you can work to build the starting position for the clean. So I'll say, Nathan, get in the athletic position. All right, boom, that's exactly what we want. They should be hinging their hips back, they should have their chest in the air. Now from here, I'm just gonna make a couple adjustments. The biggest one is I wanna make sure his feet are hip width. When you're doing the Olympic lifts, your feet need to be hip width because that's where all your power generates from. So I'll say, all right, Nathan, bring your feet in a little bit. Good. Now I'm gonna come over here. I wanna try to get his arms extended because we want his arms straight. And then I want his arms to be up mid-thigh where the hip is. So I'm simply just gonna push up his chest until we're right in that position. There we go. If you were to come from the side, you would see that Nathan's shoulders and the hip are just right above the bar, slightly over. And here's our starting position for the start of the clean. Now from here, I'm gonna ask Nathan to go grab the bar. First thing I wanna show before we get to the starting position is the hook grip. All of your athletes should be hook gripping for cleans and snatches. It's the strongest grip you can have, but it's also gonna help keep the arms relaxed so they're not trying to muscle the bar up. For the hook grip, I will generally tell all my 9th graders just to line their thumbs up with the edge of the bar where the knurling is at. Then from there, what you do is you take your thumb around the bar and wrap your fingers around your thumb. So if you want to come from behind, you'll see how Nathan opens up his fingers, puts his thumb in the bar, and then wraps his fingers around. That is the grip we want for the start of the clean. Now from here, I'm going to say, Nathan, get back to that position we just had. You'll see he starts here, slight bend in the knees, slight hinge back, shoulders above the bar. Now the first thing I want him to do, I just want him to get used to keeping his arms relaxed in this position. So from there, I'm just going to say what I call toe shrug. It's easy for the kids to know. I'm just going to have him come straight up on his toes and shrug up hard with the shoulders. So I'll say get set and hit, boom, straight up. Full extension on the toes, full shrug of the shoulders. If you come from the side, you're going to see his posture straight up in the air. So get set, hit, good. Again, set, hit, good, set, hit, perfect. After they master that, the next we're going to do the high pull. From the high pull, I'm having him get started in the hip position. I'm actually going to have him come up a little bit more right here. From here, I'm going to say, all right, toe shrug, then elbows to the ceiling. Want to get the idea of opening their elbows up, making that window, and keeping that bar as close as possible. So get set, toe shrug, elbow to the ceiling. Good. Now one motion, set, hit. Good, set, hit. Good, hit. Again, once your athletes are able to get as tall as possible, open up that window with their elbows, we know we're ready to move on. Next is the muscle clean. All the muscle clean is we combine our drills now. So we get set, we go to the high pull, and then he simply just turns over to that front squat position, staying as tall as possible. Set, hit, high pull, turn over. Good. Again, set, straight up, hit. Good. One more. Set, straight up, then turn over, hit. Good. All right, relax. Set the bar down. Right there, those are key everyday drills you can do with your athletes. Just the bar, training bar, women's bar, PVC pipes. If you want to get the motion down with the bar path, that's stuff you can do every day. Now we're going to move to the actual power clean from the hip. Before we get there, we're going to go over the foot position for the athlete. So we're going to get rid of the bar for a little bit. I'm going to have Nathan just get set in the athletic position we talked about. Now earlier I mentioned when we do cleans and snatches, Olympic weightlifting, our feet start in the hip position. That's where our power comes from. What we want to do is we actually want to split during the lift and finish in our squat position. So what I'm going to have Nathan do is get set in the hip position. We're actually going to go arms to the side first. And I'm going to say, all right, get your dip in the athletic position. Then when I say hit, I want to see his feet pick up and see him catch in the little quarter squat. So get set, hit. Good, reset your feet, always come back to hip width, hit. Good, again, reset, hip width, hit. Good. This is a drill you can have your athletes do 10 to 20 times. Just get them used to that motion. You want your athletes to be able to pick up their legs and split. That's where they're going to be able to produce their power. Now the next one, we're going to do the exact same drill. I'm just going to have Nathan pretend there's a bar in his hands. He's going to do the same thing, and I'm just going to pretend he's pulling the bar close and splitting and catching during the drill. So we'll get set, pretend there's a bar there, now straight up, split catch, hit. Perfect, reset, hit. Good, reset, hit. Good. Next, we're just going to do that same drill with the bar. So I'll have Nathan go back, grab the bar. You're going to need to remind your athletes the hook grip, that's key to have. So I'll say, all right, get back in that hip position or the athletic position. Make sure his feet are hip width, shoulders are slightly above or over the bar. Now from here, I'm going to encourage Nate, all right, you're going to come straight up, split catch. So we'll get set, hit. Good, reset. We're strictly right now, we're looking at bar path and if he's picking up his feet. Those are two things I want to see. So we get set, hit. Good, one more. Reset, hit. Good. Now, after the first couple weeks of going from the hip and you feel like your athletes have the idea of bar path down, then you need to progress below the knee. What I found out this year is you cannot live in the hip position because we did it for a long time in a row, and then our athletes were no longer engaging their hips. They were just coming out, they were no longer getting full triple extension with their ankles, knees, and hips. So what I would say is you should go down below the knee sooner rather than later. So here's how we get into the progression to go below the knee. First thing, the same position that your athlete should be super familiar with, just the hip position, the athletic position, however you want to tell them. So I'll have Nathan get set in that. Now from here, to go below the knee, all I'm going to ask him to do is maintain his chest up, back tight. Now just push his hips back until he gets below the knee. That's exactly what we want. Again, shoulders slightly over or above the bar. Now from here, I'm going to have Nathan, I'm going to tell him to relax. I'm just going to walk him through it. I'm going to say, all right, push yourself up tall, tall, tall. Then when that bar gets to about mid-thigh where it was before, I'm simply going to ask him to punch the bar with his hips and shrug up tall. Good. At the University of Northern Iowa, we call this the hacky pull, just a way to teach athletes to engage their hips. And it's really effective. So I'll have Nathan do 5 more, then I'm talking about a little bit more. Good. Again, he gets set, he pushes tall, punch and shrug. Set, push tall, punch, shrug. Good. I originally used to not like this drill because I thought it taught the athletes to swing the bar in front. But then I had to remember, we're working with 100 high school kids and not competitive Olympic weightlifters. So this is a very effective way to have athletes get the idea of how to engage their hips and commit to a clean. Now next, from the hacky pull, we're going straight to the high pull. So Nathan is comfortable in this position. This is everyday drill. They just come in, boom, they get used to it. Come in, boom, get used to it. Now they're going to engage their hips and go straight to the high pull. This is how you fix that bar path. So you come up, as he comes up tall, he's going to punch his hips, finish with the high pull, elbows up, just like we used to do from the hip. So get set, and I'm just having to do 5 high pulls. Just punch, tall. Punch, tall. Good. Once your athletes have the hacky pull mastered and they're able to punch and use their hips effectively, I would get rid of that and go straight to the high pull. After that, just like we did from the hip, we go straight to the muscle clean. So he's gonna, again, take his time, get into that position, punch, then just turn over. Let's do 3 muscle cleans. Tall, turn over, good. Tall, turn over, good. Good. Now again, same as we did last time, from the muscle clean, you go to the power clean. So he's gonna get set, keep his arms relaxed, punch tall, split catch. Let's do 3 of them. Perfect. Now, there's a lot of little cues and stuff here I'm not necessarily saying in the video, but that's a lot of stuff you're gonna have to eyeball with your athletes. For example, during this first pull right here, when he comes from the knee to the hip, his arms need to stay relaxed and straight. If you have athletes who are bending their arms like this before they get to the hip, you're gonna pretty much make them stay in the hacky pull position for a long time until they figure it out. So you'd rather have them sit here and learn how to do this 100 times right than start having them clean with their arms bent like this. And then same with bar path and stuff. If they're not able to effectively get tall, don't have them clean below the knee until they get that pull down. You have to master the basics before moving on to the full movement. One of my favorite ways to teach the clean after you get to below the knee is going from the blocks. If you're lucky enough to have like the power lift plyo boxes that you can use on each rack, that's awesome. We have a few sets of these plyo boxes. They're soft impact ones. We just flip them upside down. And unfortunately, we don't have enough for a whole group, but this is definitely something that we'll pull 2, 3, 4 kids by on the side to further reinforce the motor pattern. So how you go from the blocks. I just have Nathan to approach the bar. I'm gonna ask him to get his athletic position, just like he did before. Again, you gotta remember, these are high school kids, not competitive weightlifters, so I'm not gonna sit here and make everything absolutely perfect. Here's what I want. Again, shoulders slightly above over the bar. I'm looking that he has his lats locked in, back flat, ready to go. Now from the block, we teach complexes. So what I'm gonna have him do is I'm just gonna make up a complex right now. That's one we use when we're working on keeping the arms relaxed and just reinforcing the motor pattern. I'm just gonna say out the names of the exercise and just have Nathan perform them. So first would be a hacky pull. So get set, back tight, then boom, pop. Good. Now high pull, set, hit. Perfect. Now muscle clean, get set, hit. Good. Power clean, set, hit. Good. Come back to the set position. One thing I will say, if athletes are struggling, if the bar keeps going that way and it's hanging out in front, chances are their back is not locked in. They really need to take their 2 lats back here and they need to be able to squeeze down and back. Can you come to the side? Start over. Watch Nathan's shoulders. Before he gets set, he's gonna squeeze his shoulders down and back. And then you saw the movement right there. That's how the bar stays locked in place. If his back is tight like that, as he comes up, the bar is automatically gonna come to his hip. And that's what we want. All right, once you're confident with your athlete's ability to go from the knee and below the knee, when they're able to keep their backs tight, we're able to progress from the floor. Easiest way to teach it, I'm sure there's easier ways out there, but since we just went from the below the knee, we take that position and use that to go to the floor. So I'll have Nathan get set. That's what we just worked on. Now from this position right here, he has his hips pushed back. This is right here. I'm simply just gonna have him squat down more with just his legs until he gets to the ground. That's your perfect start position. If you're gonna look at it, the bar should be right above the big toe. I would ask him to have his wrist turned tightly in. That's gonna allow the bar to come up a little bit more. And then obviously key thing, lats are locked in. Now when he comes up from the floor, first thing he's gonna do is he stands up, he's gonna push his knees back, and that's gonna allow him to get to the hip position. So he comes up, knees come back, boom. That's our base position that we taught everything out of. So I'll have him come back down to that start position. Then you're gonna do the exact same complex we did for everything else. The first thing would be hacky pulls. So come up, hacky pull. Good, and do another one. Once they have that down, they're able to keep the arms relaxed. We go to the high pull. So you get set, high pull. Good, one more. Once they're able to get that bar path straight up, we go to the muscle clean. Good, and then you progress to the power clean. Good, and set it down. Now, one thing you have to remember, we're talking proficient cleans from the floor are 1.5 to 2 months down the road from where we started. It takes time to get your athletes strong. and have them develop a good base. But once they have that developed, you slowly add more and more reps, more and more complexes, and then they're going to be able to go from the floor proficiently. Now I'm going to have Nathan show you what a power clean and full clean from the ground look like. But I just want to emphasize, this would be like 4 months down the road on technique. Everything we showed you today would be everyday drills. Just like in football, basketball, they do fundamentals. These are fundamentals for weightlifting. You have to get used to the athletic position. The biggest thing is bar path. Then when you go from below the knee, we're looking at engaging the hips and bar path. From there, you progress to the floor. As a coach, there's many things you want to look for when an athlete's cleaning from the floor. The biggest one right now is I can tell you if they make contact early, like they're down here, chances are their back wasn't set from the floor and their hips rose first. So if their hips came up first, the bar is going to be down here, and then they're just going to go that way when they clean. So anytime you watch them do a clean and the bar goes that way, watch their back position from the floor, watch their hips. You want them to be chest up first, chest and the hips rise together, bar comes in the hip, and then extension. So I'll have Nathan show you right now what a proper power clean and full clean look like. Good, notice chest raises up, bar comes to the hip. Perfect. Good. So hopefully today, I know this is not your USAW terminology that you normally get, but I try to develop terminology that 40 kids can understand at a time, and that you can go and get your athletes cleaning. Thank you.